Hello, everyone. So this is episode number 30 now. Uber Lyft driving confessions of an Uber Lyft driver. That was redundant. Number 30. I kicked him out of my car. Done about 12,000 rides so far, and I've kicked, I believe this is the third or fourth, I want to say the third person I've kicked out of my car. So that's about one out of every 4,000 rides, I guess that would be. And I got all the other ones on my website. By the way, if you want to see the rest of the videos I've made in my journal of my more interesting and bizarre rides, they're all on my website, tomberkenmeyer.com, just like it's spelled here in social media, tomberkenmeyer.com. And every dollar I make from this, I'm able to save and invest into my rental property business. And I blog about how you can save everything that you work for as well to put towards things you want. So on with the story. Kicked him out of my car. Here's how it went down yesterday. So I go to pick this guy up. His name is Andrew. We only see your first name, by the way. It was him and his son. Right off the bat, as soon as he gets into my car, he's dehumanizing his wife verbally. Apparently she was still in the house getting ready, saying horrible, not just normal criticisms, but just flat out verbally dehumanizing her. And right in front of his son, I'm assuming her son too, right off the bat, horrible, disgusting human being, and his son is there. And also I'm a stranger, and he's just mouthing off like that, like he doesn't care. Very self-absorbed asshat, really. But that's not what made me kick him out of his car. I kind of wonder if I would have kicked him out of his car just for that alone, because I don't want to have people dehumanizing others in my car, or anywhere for that matter. But the thing that really tripped me off, I guess, is when he started dehumanizing me, his driver. Can you imagine that? And I don't remember exactly what was said, so I'm going to do my best to try to remember. But when he started saying, I have no idea how long she's going to be. I've been married for so many years. Don't care about her. Don't care how long she's going to be. Could be 1 minute, could be an hour, could be 5 hours. And then I said, well, I don't want to just wait here indefinitely. I'll wait a minute. If she's still not here and we still have no idea when she's going to be ready, then your best bet is order another ride when you're ready. To that he says, you're being paid, you're going to wait. And then he followed up with something else. I don't remember exactly what it was. I just remember the way that it made me feel was like, okay, he's turning his verbal dehumanization upon me now. So I just started giggling really hard. I mean, what would you do when somebody just brazenly said that to you? And then when I was done giggling pretty hard, I said, hey, you're going to want to find another driver. I'm not taking you anywhere. And that kind of shocked him. He was very surprised to hear that. And then he said, I don't remember what he said, but a few more things. And then he said, and you're going to get a really bad rating too. To which I said, yeah, the same rating for you too, Dick. And then he was really shocked, and he said, in all the years I've been Uber and Lyft riding, I've never met a driver that's treated me this way. And so I just listened to him out, and then I looked at him as he was finishing up his little diatribe there. And my only response I had for him was, you're a self-absorbed lunatic. Check yourself into a hospital. And then he shut the door, and that was about it. He was pretty stunned and shocked. So I've got a few things to say about that exchange. One, first and foremost, he did that dehumanization garbage about his wife right there with his son there. So that's probably his son was maybe 9 or 10 years old. So I can only assume he exposes his son to the verbal dehumanization of his mom. Probably every day on a regular basis. So who knows how it's going to mess that kid up. That's just incredibly sad. And maybe she does it too. Who knows? All I know is I saw the dad there doing that, and already a sick, vile, disgusting human being who really does need to be checked into a hospital because he's a sociopathic lunatic. Another thing to say about that is he's probably used to doing that to service people in the service industry, whether it's a waiter at a restaurant, hotel staff, housekeeping, whatever. He probably, like a moral coward, uses that power of dominion and exploits people with it, and takes advantage. And he's probably not used to blowback, because he was very surprised that he got some from me, and he got it in a pretty big way. I wasn't going to put up with that. You can't talk to people and dehumanize them just because you're paying them money and they're in the service industry. No, you can get bent. And I told him that much in so many words, and he acted pretty stunned. So maybe he'll think twice next time. Probably not. He'll probably keep doing it, unfortunately. So another thing I've got to say about that is I'm in a position where, um, if something happens to my Lyft driver status, like, they took it away from me and they cut off that source of income, I'm going to be fine because I've got my network marketing business I started back in 2007, passive residual income, and I got my rental property business that the first business springboarded me into. But most people are not okay. Most people depend on their job, whether they're self-employed or they're employed by an employer at some restaurant or a hotel or whatever. So the typical service worker at a restaurant or a hotel or wherever is employed, and they may not be able to stand up for themselves. Now, some bosses are going to be cooler than others about that sort of thing, but I've had plenty of passengers in my car where it's like, yeah, I stood up for myself in the most rational of ways to somebody who was way out of line, and my boss didn't have my back. I got fired anyway. And I'm like, oh my God. So thank goodness I started something on the side years ago that would cover me just in case, my Lyft income gets cut off because I stood up to myself against some unbelievable, egregious jerk. So I'm fine, but most people are not fine, and they can't take that chance, they can't afford to, or they lose their ability to pay their bills, which is really sick. So if you have a boss that would back you up in defending yourself, good. But still, count your blessings and get started in something on your spare time so that you're going to be okay if something does happen. You just have to. You're going to be prepared someday, or you're not. When life throws its inevitable wrenches in your plans, you're either going to be ready for it or you're not. And the only way to really be ready for stuff like that is to do something on the side where you're building your own passive and residual income from an asset that you own. And if you want to see what I did, feel free to private message me. I'll send you a link to a video or a blog that I wrote about it, and you can see if you want to get involved too. And another thing I want to say about this, Lyft and Uber, by the way, they actually are pretty cool about backing up their drivers and standing up for themselves. They are really concerned for the safety of their drivers as well as the passengers, and it shows. So kudos to Lyft and Uber for that. What else? Oh, also, one other thought I had about this. Everybody in this country, just about everybody, has a gun. And a fragmentation of people are mentally unbalanced, and they will use that gun to kill somebody. And they do on a daily basis. There's a mass shooting in this country. So knowing that, it probably wasn't smart of me, coming from a safety perspective, to give this guy blowback in the way that I did. Because I have no way of knowing if he's one of those unbalanced nutjob Trump supporters. That's right, I said it. Or doesn't have to be a Trump supporter, but just overall a nut job, mentally unbalanced person with a gun that's willing to use it on somebody that gives them blowback like I did. And, so that's just the reality that we live in this, uniquely in this country, that we have to be careful of when, we're thinking about reading somebody the Riot Act. It could happen. It happens every day to somebody in this country, sadly. So that was my final thought on all that happened yesterday with that particular ride, and episode number 30. So what do you think? Feel free to comment below on anything that you heard, or how would you have responded to that, and are you in a position where you have a boss that might take your livelihood away from you if you stood up for yourself against somebody like that? Or you have a boss that's pretty cool? Or if something happened to your income, are you going to be okay? Do you have something else on the side you built in your spare time to back you up and to cover you so that you don't have to live in fear of maybe not being able to pay the bills if something happens to your main source of income? Are you okay? Are you safe? Are you doing something about it if you're not? Because 49 out of 50 people are not safe. So be honest with yourself. And keep in mind, the big safety tip is just keep in mind you have no idea who's mentally unbalanced and with a gun if you think you're in the right to read somebody the Riot Act, and you might be, but just keep that in mind too for your own safety and protection. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Feel free to comment anything you want below, and I've got another episode coming soon, which is going to be episode number 31, and this one's going to be purely entrepreneurship with another passenger that was in my car. So look forward to that. I'm going to do it right after this one. Bye for now. Mwah. I'll see you in a few.